I think Valia looks good. To be honest, I think if MV have the guts, I think Valia, although an immobile mage, combines really well with the Popo and Kuba. They could permanently lock someone down, but Eudora fits the bill as well. A point and click stun. You got the Thunder's Wrath, immediately can just, burst someone down. You look at Team Flash side, if they do catch the Roger or the Farsa, there's an instant kill for the side of Notorious villains. Personally, I do prefer Valia a bit more because towards the later part of the game, Valia does really well against the Uranus, does well against the Balmond. You can push the Jawhead away. I just think it offers so much more, but I can see the point. They're looking to add that burst into what they already have in terms of sustained damage from the Xbox and the Esmeralda. So, yep, looks pretty good at this point, but it is going to be MV versus Team Flash. Who's going to take game 2? Well, we'll only have to find out. Ladies and gentlemen, keep that smashing that share button because we want to unlock those milestones. But here we go, game 2 of day 1, Singapore MPL Season 2.
We're going to be looking at the laning potential coming in from both sides. Team Flash and Team Notorious Villains. All the way up in the northern side, in the top lane, we're going to be looking at Ballman, played by Pokemon. That's going to be fighting right against Claws, that is playing onto the Esmeralda. Right here in the middle lane, it is going to be a Fenrir playing onto the Mecha. As long as with A1, A2, that is onto the Fasa, fighting against with quite a lot of a little bit of hard counters right here. We do have Kolia that's going to be onto the Popol and Koopa, as well as Gas Love playing onto the Eudora. Down south is going to be a Dara. Yes, okay, so Dara is going to be playing on the Uranus, fighting against Aeon OCE onto that Xbox. So I'm really much interested into Pokemon that's playing onto the Bowman, right? Like how much of a bully he can be against Claws or the other way around. Who's going to be the one that gets on top?
But I think it's kind of like a draw lane for now. Obviously, if they do trade blow for blow, Esmeralda's going to do pretty decently. But you can see Pokemon using the wave clear speed to try to rotate early into the game. But Mooney playing very aggressively. He nearly got the kill there. Claws tried to follow up as well, but Claws, unfortunately, still level 3, doesn't have the forward star wound, so MV will have to walk away slightly disappointed, but still dominating most of the lane.
Yeah, that was a very aggressive stance coming in from the side of Pokemon, thinking that he could just, kind of poke out Kolia just by a little bit, but didn't really quite realize that Mooney can just come right in and snap right onto the opponent's side, and like out of absolutely nowhere. But things are looking pretty darn good for the side of NV. They managed to return the favor onto the side of Pokemon. Instead of Pokemon trying to push Kolia back home, it is Mooney pushing Pokemon back home instead. And now that the turtle has appeared down south in the turtle's pit, that is going to open up some avenue for Notorious Villains to get themselves a couple more gold and EXP to their names. And alas, it is going to be a simple one for themselves, and that is going to be a small little lead in favor for them, but not like it's going to be extremely huge for now.
Yeah, Team Flash, a lot of their heroes do need quite a bit of farm. If you think about it, there is the Roger, there is the Uranus, as well as the Belmont heroes that thrive off the late game. Not so much for Suna playing the Roger. Roger does work pretty well early, but there is still the impact that he can bring to the table, especially with the killing spree. If you don't finish him off fast enough, he picks off your members one by one. He becomes kind of a monstrous machine that can just clean the team fight up. And we, on the other hand, having the early game lead, can Fenrir get the ejector? No, the Fog Lightning.
It's just simple stuns right in the face of Fenrir. He doesn't really want to go all too comical on the opponent just yet, but speaking of comical, it does seem like Pokemon is a little bit committing a little bit too much right onto the side of MV. They're gonna go straight in for a 1-for-1 trade. Pokemon for Mooney. And obviously, that is going to be a lot more favorable for the side of Flash. They did manage to bring down that hyper carry on the side of NV after all, while Pokemon is just kind of like a side laner. But it does work for both sides in some sense. NV with the Esmeralda reigning at the top lane, that pretty much means that they can just kind of push up the lane a little bit more. Claws would have a little bit more fun in the top lane. If he continues this onslaught and if he continues this small little gap he has between him and Dara, he can score a couple of kills all by himself. and just kind of extend the lead even more. This snowball factor from the side of Claus is something that I am expecting and something that can definitely happen. So you can pretty much see Claus, he's not stopping on stopping on Pokemon. He's just doing whatever that he can to push Pokemon away and just win the lane all by himself.
Yeah, like I said, it's kind of like a stalemate there, but the last is coming in from Aeon at the right time to pick up Fenrir. Without the Jawhead, don't really have a front line, but Team Flash, they don't really care. They know they have enough burst damage to turn the fight around. Kolia trying to shake them off. A couple of points coming out from Cooper, but Dara's keeping it close. He does have his passive to regen all of that up. Farsa going to be able to spot out the Eudora coming in from the top side. Kolia kind of wedged into the middle. JS Love, can he actually burst the Farsas down? The Thunder Wrath comes in. They're lacking the damage, but that should be more than enough to push A1, A2 back to a more defensive position. Look at that, Fenrir just taking a lot of poke from the Bite Them Koopa. This is why Popo and Koopa is just such a useful tool, not only for scouting, but just harassing melee tanks.
Yes, really, it's too much harassment that we should be looking at from the side of Kolia. And in the meantime, they have shifted their forces all the way to the northern side and may be able to get some simple kills on the side of Fenrir as well as Pokemon. That's going to be diving right in. Tempest of Blaze, unfortunately, did not quite land on anyone. Now with Suna coming into the team fight, they will definitely be able to help their fellow team and try to push NV away. But surprisingly though, they didn't try to do a frontal assault with the help of Suna, solely because of the fact that Pokemon as well as and Fenrir himself, they are all pretty low in HP. And Pokemon, with just a slip of health, got himself right away, leaving Suna all alone down on the second tier turret. A1, A2 burst out with the ultimate, just trying to go for the Pheasant Air Strike. Didn't quite land a lot, but they're just going to be following through around top of JS Love. Unfortunately for the side of Eudora, just going to be instantaneously going to be picked right down. A1 and 2 burst into wings by wings. Tries to get himself around the side of, unfortunately Mooney with the Tempest of Blaze still manages to pick him right out, and that is 2 kills for him.
Yeah, despite those 2 kills, look at Team Flash. They know they can't really contest the top side. Pokemon are coming in with the Cyclone Sweep. Does he have the lethal counter? He doesn't have it. And Kolia will walk away really happy. Meanwhile, mid lane, well, Dara doing what Uranus does best. Cut the waves, try to pressure objectives. He's really managed to take it to tier 1 and mid, while we were busy sieging Team Flash members underneath the tier 2 turret.
Aeon's first item went straight in for the War Axe instead of Immortality, so bumping right in for the damage as much as he can is going to be pretty scary for the side of Team Flash, depending on how they will want to see things. Pokemon, he's cutting the wave, went in for the lethal counter, hopefully that he will be able to get a little bit more health from the creep waves. But unfortunately, it is a 2v1 after all. He doesn't really have too much item to his name just yet, and with that very aggressive lane push, he's gonna go straight down, and Flash, unfortunately, yikes, that is not a great start. I would say that Pokemon probably was hoping some reinforcements from his side, but he was just way too deep in.
Envy now slightly leading ahead, but not too much. Mainly because they've had more kills at this point, but Team Flash kind of managing the economy pretty well through Dara, who's been split pushing this entire wave. There's really nothing that this Xbox can kind of do except for just cut the wave back, but here you go. The last Insanity, they burn the flicker coming up from Fenrir, and they also secure the turtle. Envy on a very good pacing, but once again, Team Flash, whenever they're losing objectives on one side, they're split pushing on the side lanes, and this is why they pick the Belmont as well as the Uranus combo. But in return, they don't really have too much CC. All they can count on is the burst damage coming off the Farsa as well as Suna on this Roger. But unfortunately, Envy not really giving them the opportunity. But Team Flash like, yeah, it's fine. We don't need to find pickoffs. We'll just take your turrets as much as possible while you are busy, putting 4 to 5 members on the other side of the map.
The Esmeralda is doing a pretty good job at the top lane though. He's having a lot of fun. But maybe this is a time where his fun is going to be stopped, because it is going to be a 3 versus 1 take, while Claus goes right in for the Falling Star Moon right under the turret's nose. And that 3-man gank on the Claus did not happen favorably for the side of Flash. They expended so much. They used a couple of ultimates onto their side, but unfortunately, that's no kill. While Mooney though did manage to bring Suna down, and that is going to be a painful take onto their end. 2-6, and now with a total of 4 kills that is in favor for the side of Envy, and about 2,000 gold. Envy can increase the gap even more as Mooney takes his fight on to Pokemon and should be able to run away, no problems, never mind. Fenrir, with the unstoppable force, takes him right down.
Yeah, unfortunately, didn't really have enough energy to use the Cloud Walker, gets caught up, but Envy did manage to find 2 kills earlier, especially onto Pokemon, so that's gonna, relieve a bit of that split push and the cutting of waves coming out from Team Flash. But split into more map territory for Envy as they look to focus a bit more on the bottom, but Lord is coming up in 10 seconds. It's not that either team should be contesting it this early. Fenrir goes in for the unstoppable force, tries to get the toss in. JS Love is going to be target, and that Eudora is pretty much dead. Nowhere to go, no mobility, and with the mage down for 20 seconds, Team Flash now says, okay, we can start pushing in. Uranus, you go ahead, delay Pokemon, help him out a bit, and we'll start picking up the Lord.
And Aeon just gonna be losing out his Viraga armor right as Dara jumps right in. The fight is just gonna be split into 2, while Team Flash manages to take down Claws, while Envy manages to take down Dara. So both on the side, they have lost a very tanky front line. They're just gonna be continuing on. Polio with a sliver of health, he gets himself away, while Pokemon is still trying to do his absolute best on his Aeon OCE, constantly chasing up one place and another, but oh, the Finch Boys! From Mooney, gets himself away with just a small amount of health, and Pokemon spinning away like a washing machine. But this washing machine is now broken, as it does seem like the Eudora came in right in the nick of time, and the Thunder is the one that short circuits that washing machine.
Yeah, it's kind of awkward because when they showed the jaw head trying to push the ball, Fenrir was just kind of scratching his head like, where did they go? I swore they were in the bush, but yeah, coming back to the game, well, Envy got a little bit lucky with that. They kind of lost Kolia early in the fight, but they did manage to get back a couple of kills. Fortunately for them, Mooney also survived that gang, so that was pretty decent. Didn't really get too punished for diving too deep. And Dara, look at the punishment he's taking. He's taking so many of this. Will Mooney play for the grid? No, he won't. He'll just use his Finch Boys to get away with the Cloud Walker.
Well, it's pretty simple for him to get away very easily. 5 kills, 2 deaths to his name. It is still pretty early for us to even dictate how the game is gonna be like for now. It is still too early, as we will all say. It's not over until the fan base thing. Fenrir actually just walking downtown. I'm not too sure what is going on for Fenrir. In fact, I'm not too sure what's going on the Team Clash. No one came to his aid until now, but it's a little bit too late. Pokemon did manage to land the lethal counter on the side of JS Love, but unfortunately at what cost? They didn't bring anyone else down on that moment in time, and A1A2 stopped the Feathered Airstrike with no other frontliners to kind of hold them within the AoE of the Feathered Airstrike. So unfortunately, Team Flash, it kind of seems like they are extremely staggered.
Yeah, I mean, the name of the game for them would be to just try to split push as much as possible, right? You pick up the Uranus, you pick up the Belmont, you know what you're going to put on the table. But speaking of the table, look at Suna diving in. I don't think he's going to get out of this one alive. The Tempest of Blades will pick him up. Dara now trying to strap Mooney as much as possible, while A1, A2 tries to get Fenrir out of that position. The ejector comes up as well, Mooney dropping low on energy. I don't think they're going to stick around for too long. They want to focus on the Lord, but Kolia has already down to 4 of HP. How far can they push it? A1, A2 still lingering nearby. Doesn't have the ultimate just yet, but here comes Pokemon. He's going to soak up the damage as much as possible. The Feather Airstrike comes in. They pick up the kill onto JS Love, and they're diving in for more. Look at Dara. He's taking up so much punish, but the Consecration is keeping him alive. They inject onto Mooney. Oh, the lethal counter will pick up the lane, and they are chasing for more. Pokemon right on their butts as the rest of Envy will be sent running towards their base.
As Dara's still gonna be hating himself right inside the brush, while Aeon OC gets himself smashed right into the ground by that Feathered Airstrike, and the immortality has now been popped.
No skill.
Flash, yep. 180 boom. And that is going to be the Lord that is going to be free for the taking for the side of Team Flash very easily. This is where things are starting to get a little bit different, right? Because now that they have the Lord, Team Flash knows that they don't necessarily have to play individually. They gotta have to play things together as a team, and that is where their team kind of resonates with, right? They are really strong when they come in together, but so far, like Team Flash's members have always been taken out because they are by themselves. We have seen Fenrir trying to flee for his life alone. No one came to help him. We have seen Pokemon pushing the lanes alone. No one came to find him. But from now on, I believe that Team Flash will be able to huddle together, convert together, and bring down the world of pain onto the side of Notorious Villains, as now the Lord knocks right onto the middle inhibitor turret, only for him to get busted down instantaneously.
Team Flash slowly hammering down the base of Notorious Villains, and like you said, Pokemon and Dara both playing on their own, and this is why they are doing so. They're just delaying as much time as possible, and they do manage to catch Flush, Esmeralda down, and now Kolya. Look at that, they're struggling to bring Dara down. He hasn't even used his ultimate at all, just popped the Purify, but Purify having one of the shortest cooldowns as compared to the other battle spells, I'm pretty sure Dara wouldn't mind. He also does have the support emblem, so he's just gonna, get the cooldown reduction up as soon as possible. We know our Pokemon does manage to get the dash out of trouble. The Feather Airstrike comes down. They only managed to find the Koopa, but Popo and Koopa, that's the reason why there's two parts to the name. No Koopa, no Popo, and now they get the dash as well. They get the ejector onto JS Love, gets saved in time by Kolya with the Popo surprise. But is there more? Do they really want to dive after Dara? Do they have the damage? No, they don't. They are tickling Dara onto his back, and he's just laughing at them as he heals all of that up. And now they manage to get Aeon as well. No Fragile Armor. Feather Airstrike onto the back. They get the kill. Claws comes in. But where is the sustain? Where is the damage? Dara! He's still hanging on, but he will eventually go down. But Pokemon takes over the spot. There's just too many of Team Flash. You take me down, there will always be another.
Intense fight coming in from both ends. NV did relatively well when it comes to defending their middle base, or rather, they kind of lost the inhibitor turret, but hey, it is not bad considering the fact that they did not let the game end by itself, because let's be real, Flash could have ended the game if they really wanted to, and if they just kind of commit into it, since they almost got JS Love down as well, so that is going to be one of the parts. The top lane, second tier turret, unfortunately a little bit late on the side of Pokemon. So NV trying to kind of shorten things out, trying to get himself a little bit closer to the side of victory by bringing down some of the exterior turret, kind of shaving it down by a little bit by bit.
Yeah, I think it's important that Notorious Villains still retain a bit of a map control in the jungle, because that's where Mooney can strive as a Link. This is the weird thing about Link, right? He works really well in every single part of the map except for defending and sieging the opponent's turrets, because there's not really a lot of walls he can play with. He doesn't really have a lot of cover. He relies on his teammates to create the opening. So I think that's where Envy really wants to thrive. They want to make sure they get the map control back that they have lost to Team Flash, and they managed to do so. But here we go, Pokemon kicking things off with the Cyclone Sweep. They're coming from the back. Oh, the Conceal. Defenria trying to get the toss onto JS Love. The Feather Airstrike in a perfect spot. His three members, the flicker from A1, A2 dodges the Tempest of Blades. He gets a throw right onto Mooney, dropping to a quarter of HP. Oh, Suna, he can't really pounce on him, but it doesn't matter. They've already picked up two members for themselves. They only lost A1, A2. Can Mooney TP out of time? No, he can't. A1, A2 gets the Leica bounce in real time. And now Fenrir just delaying the TP. The unstoppable force onto the back. But Mooney somehow still surviving because he has the immortality. And look at this. Dara and Claus just punching each other to no avail. Both sides just pretty much just delaying the time, while Mooney still on the run, still trying to survive. Slightly out of reach for Fenrir. How frustrating it must be for that jaw hit.
My oh my, hey, at least the consolation is that he did manage to pop the immortality, and they bought a lot of time in order for Suna as well as Pokemon to bring down the Lord, and indeed it will be. A1A2 has finally bought the Winter Truncheon. It's going to help him tremendously after that great amazing race that he has done against with two other members from side of NV. This pretty much means that Team Flash, they can be a lot more sustainable in the upcoming match, and they won't be too worried about A1A2's positioning anymore, while Pokemon is all the way alone up in the top lane. We should be A-okay. The rest of the members from Team Flash are just going to be getting their way right onwards. But unfortunately, Fenrir, it does seem like he's currently caught in the middle of it. HP all the way down low, his movement speed is all the way down low as well, but it doesn't seem to matter at all. A on OCE is just going to be whittled down by the Lord as he slowly marches right in. Claw goes in, falling Salmon in the middle of anyone's midst, but unfortunately, the Winter is just going to be popped in by the side of A1 and A2. He stays alive, Pokemon goes in, he's still alive, 50% health, but unfortunately, just going to be instantaneously just popped right down to his choose. The Lord is still alive, but unfortunately, he's just going to be hammering down every single one of those creeps. Aeon OTE gets himself away with just a sliver of health, and NB manages to clinch themselves in this game, even though they have lost the top here in the top lane inhibitor turret, and this is where the defensive fight will now begin, as NB is not over just yet. Claw steals one more onto the side of A1, A2, but with a quick little flicker and Dara going right in, that is going to be the real part where they actually end that fight.
Well, it's just so frustrating to fight in the Team Flash draft. They have so much tanky and beefy heroes. They can take so much punishment. We saw Dara as well as the Belmont just buying so much time. And look at this, A1, A2 in the perfect spot, pops the feathered airstrike. Pretty much no one can touch him. And Aeon kind of forced to use the last insanity just to try to get away. And even with that, Team Flash just marches on, very early dropping low. And like I said, it's just so hard to pick a member out from Team Flash to kill. The person that you can realistically pick is actually A1, A2, but he pops the Winter Truncheon. Nothing much that you can do there, but just surrender your fate. But fortunately for MV, they still have the damage coming out just enough, I would say, to take down the Lord before they lose too much of that base.
The tankiness, the sustainability from the side of NV's players really helped a lot. And I would say that Klaus is very likely the one that held himself in place for very long and just really tanking up a lot of those damage during that. The rest of the Team Flash members don't just collapse down onto the core. And speaking of core, I think that NV may want to go exactly for that as they are gunning down for the for the second tier turret down the bottom lane. But unfortunately, take a look at Aeon. He's currently being tossed by Fenrir, pops himself with the last insanity just so that he can get himself away. Good thing is that they are all safe and sound. The better thing is that Mooney pushed all the way in the top lane. So top lane got all of the turrets down. They will have a steady flow of units that's just going to be flowing into the base.
Now both sides waiting patiently for time to strike. Lord coming up in 50 seconds, and it's interesting how Team Flash struggles the waves because they have heroes that can take a lot of punishment like we mentioned before, and this is what they strive in. But look at Pokemon. Yes, they can take punishment. There's just a limit to how much you can take. 4 heroes just pummeling right on top of it. The Fog Lightning into the Lightning Ball, into the Thunder's Wrath. Just too much for him alongside with the Popo and Koopa constantly stunning up with the Popo Surprise. Just too much for that Belmont to handle. But we are starting to see defensive items come up. There is going to be a gank here. Claws ran into the wrong bush. And he goes down, one more hit. But the Ball Lightning comes out in the nick of time to get Claws to safety.
Boy, oh boy. Team Flash went all out for that one. But it did not bear any fruit. Very. We are now 22 minutes into the game.
Deja vu!
It's like I've been busy. In the meantime, I guess that's probably not the last team fight because we know how things are gonna end, right? Fenrir probably gonna go down right here because Aeon just got all of his fire, just gonna be gunning down onto him. Claws going into Stardust Dance brings him down with a lot of shields. I'm pretty sure that Claws will be able to catch right in, and with Falling Star Moon, that is the dead tank for the side of Team Flash. They're going to be focusing down on the next member, and it does seem like it is going to be Dara or Suna. Dara receiving a lot of damage. The Thunder God's Wrath is just going to be throwing everyone else off their feet as they get electrified by the massive amount of damage that JS Love is able to put right onto them. It's not just lightning, it is all about the cosmic energy that Claws is able to put onto the side of onto Flash as well. They lost one, but it's okay. They managed to bring Dara and Fenrir down, 2 of the front liners, which is so important, and that will allow NV to gain a little bit more momentum on their side. They got more kills, but their net worth is not that much.
Yeah, a lot of the kills actually came through, picking off Dara and Pokemon who are playing the Uranus and Belmont, respectively. And the reason being is because at the end of the day, the Belmont and Uranus is there to drag members of the opposition onto them. They are just there to kill the opponent, the team. So even if they go down, it's fine. Their job ideally is to split push, create disruption, and drag members out of position. And that's what they've been able to do. So, and that's why Team Flash, despite being lesser on kills, has more objectives. They'll be able to win most of the team fight because enemy just needs to spend so much resource and bring one of their members down. Now, Will Pokemon eventually be the bait this time around? A1, A2 around the corner. He does have immortality. And now they manage to get him the kill onto Pokemon as well. But Kolia will be the next one to go down. Mooney finally gets picked off. He does have immortality. Can he jump onto the wall? No, it's not enough. The Lycan Pulse will be more than enough to get the kill right onto him. And now Aeon running for his life. Claus using the Falling Star Moon to try to get himself out of trouble. But the Ejector will toss him right back to square one. And now Dara just going to use the Ionic Ash to slow down JS Love. Nothing he can do. The ball lightning is not enough. The Thunderstruck doesn't even touch him. And now Aeon might even go down here. Can he make it to base in time? Well, the Praga armor comes out at just the right timing. I think he has done more than enough. Dara has successfully pushed the entirety of Envy, or what's left of Envy, from that pickoff back to the base, which means Team Flash is going to get another Lord for a second time in a row.
And Dara slowly buying more time for the Lord to eventually push right out. All of the members from Team Flash, 4 members, slowly pushing right in. Make that 3 actually. Wait, never mind, make that 4 actually. We do have Claus. He's currently being hammered down by the side of Team Flash, and even has some artillery barrage that's just gonna be landing right on top of his head. Aeon OCE, he's still holding on to his own. He still has the immortality but no Firaga armor, but not like he's able to do anything at that point in time. And just like that, Team Flash gets themselves game number 1.
Well, Abstract, usually I would say, what a long game, but what?
You can have the chrono dashes from the side of Harif, just constantly deal damage over and over again. Suna with a little bit of burns here and there, and the last Insanity is probably like the only burst that we can expect. And we've got a Natalia from the side of NV. What says you?
I think Natalia is pretty decent, but the fact that Team Flash already has a Benedetta as well as a Xbox kind of puzzles me, because Xbox is just going to be able to review the Natalia, which is in the invisible form. I think it's still pretty decent pick. It does offer some sort of control early game, strikes the fear into the Benedetta, which is roaming without her level 4. So there is that threat. But once again, a very early game draft coming up from MV, right? You want the Kogoro to hit the level 4, you look for the Yin Yang overturn, you look for the early game fights, you couple with that with the roaming Nutella. A lot of threat, a lot of burst throughout, but I fear for them if this game scales past the 10th to 15th minute once again.
When we are talking about bias, which bias are you going to be throwing yourself
onto?
Ooh,
I don't know. Don't put me on the spot.
Huh? Okay, I'm putting myself on the spot first. I do heavily think that NV may have a really nice chance of slipping through the fingers of Team Flash. They can push down a lot of damage on the side of NV, but when it comes to actually killing people, I think that they're going to have so much issues with that because of, well, they don't have lockdown. Simply put, they don't have lockdown.
Yep, but look at how much pressure Fenrir is putting on as a Grok. He walks in, and that's something as a Nutella, right? Yes, you don't have CC, but you have a ton of burst damage, and they can look to punish Fenrir here. He's not going to burn the flicker. It's going to be easy first blood secured by Kolia on this side lane. Pretty interesting. It's one of the few times that I see Kolia playing on the side lane Ruby, while JS Love is going to be playing on that support Natalia, or the roaming Natalia.
Roaming Natalia with a high-end dry, so we should be expecting JS Love to play relatively aggressive. And I think that his main goal here is to catch Fenrir completely alone, right? Because that is kind of what Fenrir wants to do. He wants to be in front of the enemy's face, charging out with the power of nature and just being unable to be locked down. But JS Love, as a Natalia, he doesn't even care about locking enemies down. He just wants to deal those small little pokes and bursts onto the side of Fenrir, and I think that is mission accomplished.
Yeah, I like that jungle invade coming up from the Xbox there, just to steal away that camp just beneath the red buff, because that means that Moon is not going to be able to hit the level 4 even after completing a full rotation, but on the other hand, Suna's going to hit the level 4 when that turtle comes up. So there's a bit of a slight advantage to Team Flash in this rotation-wise. And well, speak of Devil, Turtle is going to spawn immediately. Look at Team Flash, they're already starting to make their way towards the Turtle's pit. Want to get a little bit more control.
Well, Hyper Suna, that is going to be an Xbox, so we should be expecting some early game engagements from the side of Team Flash. They should be able to do really decently, especially since Dara has made his way down to the middle lane. JS Love with a sliver of help. Dara almost landing the shot in. He did have Flicker though, trying to go for the final hit. Yes, he will be able to with the sword out slash onto the side of JSL, but unfortunately he's finding himself in a very precarious positioning as Solia immediately take him down with a couple of hook, slash, and scythe action. But now he's stuck inside of the Turtle's pit with a nice little flicker to get himself inside of the first tier turret. He should be safe and sound now, but Pokemon playing as the Harif is not gonna let him go away like that. With a simple Chrono Fissure as well as a Chrono Dash, that is Solia down into the ground.
Yeah, and more wins for Notorious Villains onto the top side of the map as well. Yes, they lost the turtle, but more importantly, they get the pick-off onto Suna on this Xbox, which is a pretty good pick-off because that gives a bit of a time for Mooney on this link to catch up in terms of net worth. I think generally Team Flash and Envy are both doing fine towards the early game. I think Claws as well as Just Love have been proved to be a bit of a pain in Team Flash neck, constantly doing counter invade, stopping Fenrir from, making most of that early engagements that he wants against the Link. But let's see how far Envy can take this, because they are slightly ahead now by a couple of hundred gold because they managed to get the kill onto the Xbox. But here we go, Bottlane.
It doesn't seem like Pokemon will be able to survive from all of that, especially since they are just going to be whipping out every single one of the kills. And Pokemon even tried to go straight in with the Zaman Force, but doesn't really quite have the sustainability to hold himself right there. The amount of burst damage that Kagura was able to bring right out to the side of Team Flash is a little bit too much for them to handle, and Claw is going to be the next one to go straight down, unfortunately, because Suna came in right in the nick of time. It's kind of like a 1-for-1 trade at this moment in time, but unfortunately a little bit more unfavorable for NV because of the fact that it is a mage that went down versus the opponent's tank that went down. Dara's HP is all the way down low. We do have the Zaman Force just going to be popped right out, coming from the side of Pokemon. Dash right in, dash right out. But Suna is just going to be going straight in with the Last Insanity as well, popping Aeon. Do a critical amount of health, but unfortunately Consecration is just going to get him right out of the danger zone.
Yeah, Team Flash choosing not to pursue Aeon. Aeon just going to build the Brute Force plate just to add a little bit more sustain as well as movement speed, one of the core items for Uranus as he looks to try to dance between the enemy lines without getting punished. Meanwhile, we do see the Feather Airstrike come out a little bit early. A1, A2 in no man's land. The Invis gets popped. JS Love right on top of it. He manages to fly out just in time. The wings by wings as Fenrir comes in, gets the mage out of trouble. Meanwhile, mid lane, Last Blow Electro, can he get the kill? Claws gets punished in the middle, and Fenrir now turning their eyes straight over to the Turtle Pit. Do they actually find Pokemon? No, he gets the recall back in the nick of time.
And Fenrir is just going to be holding it out. He's going to be slowly waiting for someone to appear. But it doesn't seem like much is going to be happening. Mooney made his way to the middle lane, trying to clear the waves just by a little bit, but unfortunately Dara is just doing what he can. That is just the power of Benedetta at this moment in time. Just clears waves really fast. But meantime, that's going to be a nice stun, a follow-up stun from the side of Fenrir. Well, I was talking about the fact that they don't have any lockdown, but it does seem like they do have a small little bit of lockdown if they time it right. Correct? A1, A2, smaller stuns from his part, and Fenrir with a nice little charge right through. The charge is definitely going to help quite a lot. But unfortunately, A1, A2 has found himself in a very precarious positioning twice. This time, Fenrir is not around to help save him.
Red team turret has been destroyed.
Team Flash using one of Evo's Legends playbook, having the side lane Harif and having a secondary carry in some form of secondary carry while you have the Xbox farm up in the jungle as well. So on the mid-queue, and now we do see Dara dancing between both the Ruby and Natalia, escaping the hunt as well as the smoke bomb just to escape out, and now they might be able to find the Kagura down the mid. The Feather Airstrike comes in. Dara using an eye for an eye to just dash past the wall, but I don't think they will be able to find the kill there. Meanwhile, Fenrir posing to be another problem. They get the invade, and they also manage to steal away the blue buff. which is going to be a big detriment to the side of MV. Mooney without blue buff, Pokemon going to join as well. Does he have the Zama Force? Yes, he does. He pops up the zip, zap, the zoom. Does he get him more? The Synchro Fusion does pick up the kill right onto the Natalia, and they want more. Kolia will run back. Will cook him back right underneath the tier 1 turret, and they will get the return kill onto Pokemon. Team Flash playing a little bit too greedily underneath the tier 1 turrets, and they get punished for it. But here comes Barrier. Oh, good nature's Barrier, but unfortunately Kolia will just get away with the second steal.
This game is quite a seesaw that we are looking at. At one moment, Team Flash, they have got nicer kills, and then NV comes around having the nicer kills. I'm really surprised with what this game has been offering us so far. Been very kind. Game 1, Game 2 from Match 1, Game 1 and Game 2 from Match 2 as well. So, I'm really happy with how we started off MPL Season 2 so far. But you know what? It's gonna get a little bit spicier. As it does seem like Kolia is just gonna go back down into the ground, and I don't think that that's gonna be over just yet. And Dara is just gonna be soaking up the most amount of damage with the Electro Final Blow, just gonna be dashing a lot of damage on the side of Claws. His HP, he's gonna go down. Dara with a sliver of health, he gets himself right back out. And now Envy, they know that they have their back against the wall, and now FL. Team Flash, they can bring down this first tier turret very easily, while Dara makes its way down to the bottom lane, hopefully to be able to bring down the second tier turret, while the rest of the team takes the purple buff.
Mooney now going to be found without a blue buff for another few minutes, and this is, I wouldn't say disastrous, but it is kind of a bad state for the Ling. And that's the thing, I mentioned about the Ling in the first game. I told you, the thing about Ling is that yes, he is a very good carry, but he needs the buff, he needs the blue buff, kind of similar to how the Fanny operates, and but without the blue buff, he is going to be struggling with energy resource.
Oh, that is gonna be a massive amount of ultimate coming from the side of Team Flash. Just gonna be bringing down Kolia, but unfortunately A1, A2 himself is gonna go straight down. Claws as well as Mooney. The HP went all the way down, but Pokemon just gonna say no. Brings another one down to the ground. The final nail in the coffin on JS Love as well as Claude. Now, Team Flash, they've got 4 men alive. They do know that they can actually try to push the lane all the way from the top, middle, and bottom lane. But for now, they just want to suffocate NV bit by bit, because that team fight was only attributed because of the fact that, well, Mooney doesn't have the buff. Yep. So it's actually a 5v4.
Yeah. To a certain extent, yeah. Because Mooney won't be able to sustain in that fight. He will be able to do some sort of damage, especially with his ultimate. But you know, there's only so much a Link can do without the energy. And let's take a little quick replay. It all started out with a very decent fight by MV. They managed to steal the Lord there after, or rather the Turtle there. Well, after that, it just went completely downhill. Not enough burst damage. JS Love just getting taunted by the fire missiles coming from JS Love. And rather speaking about getting taunted, Kolia trying his best to hold 3 members of Team Flash. But meanwhile, Pokemon just wrecking havoc with the Zama Force onto the back line. Aeon now in a little bit of trouble. They don't have the CC to lock him down, and Aeon will walk away pretty happy, but this means that they're going to give away a bit of the Lord's control. Well, Kolia, he cannot die here because Lord is just about to come up in a couple of seconds. Kolia doing really well with the don't run cry just to hook himself across the wall. He's buying so much time, but look at Team Flash, they don't care. They're just going to get Luna to burn him down bit by bit. While they work on the tier 2 in the mid lane. Eventually Kolia will go down, but he's doing whatever he can to secure those precious seconds.
Well, it did buy a lot of time, and I gotta commend that mobility. Just imagine outmaneuvering against a Benedetta.
Well, he burned the flicker as well, so...
that is one thing, yes. That is a lot of things that went by. He went for the hook and then flickers past the wall just to ensure that Dara will not be able to catch up to him. So all in all, that was a valiant effort from the side of Kolia, but unfortunately, at what cost? Because the flicker is only gonna buy them like a good 15 seconds, but now he's 60 seconds down without a flicker.
Yeah, but now MV looking to challenge this Lord FL. Got another Team Flash doing a really good job. Sunam with the fire missile, stranding Aeon down to almost 3/4 of a HP. Fenrir will force Mooney back but Kolia tried his best. I
Oh.
don't think this is a good fight for Envy at all. They get shredded down. Basuna might just go down, but he comes back, tries to get as much regen as possible. He does have the War Axe. The Hunt will secure the kill, but the Lord has already been secured by Team Flash, and now it is all Dara's show. He's got a triple kill under his belt. Is he going to get the 4th kill? No, Pokemon. It's like, we are a team. We're going to share the resources. You have to give me that kill as well.
Dealers, yeeters coming in from the side of Pokemon. And, well, a team play is a team play after all. We've got the Lord marching right down from the bottom lane. Middle lane and top lane is well pressured from the side of Team Flash as well. So this is going to be a 3-way road split from Team Flash, and this is going to be tough for the side of NV. If you're looking at the lanes and we're looking at the heroes, it does seem like Kolia is one of the members that will do a pretty good job when it comes to clearing the wave, but unfortunately it doesn't seem like he will be able to stay alive for long, because take a look at Pokemon just doing an absolute best with the Summon Force being dropped right down, trying to go for the synchrovision as well, as the Chrono dashes brings Kolia right back into the base. He brought in on OCE's HP all the way down to a half as well, and he has done his job. Bring down the inhibitor turret in the bottom lane as well and push everyone else away, ensuring that they will be able to push right in for the middle lane. And he does come down on the top of the Summon Force again. He's trying to skip that all around the place, trying to get a kill down and right on the Kolia. But Suna is the one that manages to get the little kill right over there. The fact that Astrike, A1, A2 blast everyone into oblivion. But unfortunately, JS Love, he was trying to go behind of A1, A2 to snipe him right out. But A1, A2 said, no, I don't care, because I'm gonna be dealing the artillery damage onto the rest of the team while you deal a tiny little pecker of a damage onto me.
Well, another